Hey, hello, good morning, everybody. I can see we're all gradually loading ourselves up as attendees. Welcome to our webinar on AI this morning. Okay, it looks like we've got everybody on board. If you can please open your cameras for the panelists. We look forward to saying hello to all of you. Today's the day. It looks like the long summer is gradually coming to a close, and so people are starting to turn on their computers a bit more and use things. That's the second phone call I've had from Jeff Moores in the last 30 seconds. I hope he's not trying to get in on this webinar and can't. But I wanted to welcome you all very much. Sally Smith is today asked me to host this webinar on AI. And I'm looking down the list of attendees to see if she's there. Yes, she is. Hello, Sally. Your turn to listen to this from the other side. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Ersel, Peter, Alan, and Tim. And thanks for Lisa for being the voice of God and keeping us all under control in the background. So we are West London Chambers of Commerce, and today we're going to have a discussion and some presentations about AI that's been in the news quite a bit. I'm going to share some of the news that I've seen on the internet recently about quantum computing and AI. Is it an ideal marriage? There's been some discussions about what Gemini is, having Google just bought it a few years ago from the UK DeepMind, paying $500 million. And is there a high risk of job migration? What does intelligence quotient mean against emotional intelligence quotient? Also, on an international platform, where are unicorns coming from these days? And it's interesting to see how many unicorns we have in the UK compared to USA, China, India, who have much, much, much higher population than we do. I also spotted in the news that Netflix are advertising for an AI director with a salary of $900,000 a year. Ersel, Tim, does that make you smile? And
definitely.
Finally, extended reality. Does that really mean augmented reality plus virtual reality plus mixed reality equals artificial intelligence? You can have a watch on your wrist. Well, it's touchscreen now. But how is all of this being used? I see that the police in New York are tracking criminals for irregular driving using AI. And what type of computers are driving this? This is an image of the computer in New York. So to talk us through a lot more about these different issues that are facing us all, we've got a fantastic panel today. We're going to be starting off with Ersel and Tim, who both have got amazing backgrounds in the industry. And please, Ersel, over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan. Excellent setting the scene. Tim, if you could please share the slides from your end.
Yeah,
we'll do a dual act with Tim Bodley-Scott. We're both from UCL, University College London. So we'd like to give you a bit of a background where we are. As part of the Artificial Intelligence webinar today, which is organized by West London Chambers of Commerce, we'd like to take you through the journey of responsible digital innovation. This is also very much in line in terms of its notion with the with a recent book Tim and myself co-authored. It's about putting technology in our daily lives, in everything we do, but of course doing that in a responsible way, which will hopefully have the end goal of doing everything for the very good of the society, will play a pivotal role as we move forward in order to create a positive future for all. So before we deep dive into the topic, I'd like to give you a quick overview of what UCL is. University College London is a global university based in London, UK, and it's quite frequently listed in the top 10 universities in the higher education industry on a global basis. With specifics to the computer science department, where Tim and myself are actually part of, there is a massive investment around AI. As it stands for the moment, it's about over 1.3 billion pounds as a combined value around creating spin-outs, AI-centric spin-outs from the university in the last 5 years. That also includes a recently unicorn, Synthesia, and Odin Vision, which has a market value of 70 million pounds for the time being. I think we can also mention that Google DeepMind was yet another perhaps product of UCL that created a massive transformational impact in the global industry as well. So all in all, UCL has a world-class AI center as well, where we partner up with some of the leading companies of the world on some of the most challenging topics of the industry. That's all possible actually through UCL's excellent networking with the industry. One of them, and probably the most prominent one these days, that came out of computer science department is IXN, Industry Exchange Network. We have a 12-year history with IXN that allows us to connect our postgraduate students with the leading firms out there. So far, 600 IXN student projects are managed each year by the Strategic Alliances teams. We have a dedicated team managing the whole program. This is mostly around AI-centric projects, sponsorships, intellectual property that comes out of these type of projects, and eventually contracting with the industry. Right, if you can please move on to the next one. This is just to give you a glimpse of the type of AI companies actually that have just recently been out there as a spin-out. UCL, interestingly, allows its postgraduate students to retain the intellectual property of their projects, of their postgraduate projects, whether it might be an MSc, a Master of Science project, or PhD, a doctorate thesis. The students are the full owners of the IP that belongs to the thesis. So they are encouraged by UCL to set up their own startup. And we see increasingly there is a growing trend around starting up these companies with AI flavor in. If you can please move on. And there are about 14 innovation centers at UCL, some of which are one and the only, like the very first and the only Agritech Innovation Center. Likewise, a low-tech innovation hub, P4 precision medicine, personalized medicine, and these are all related to the AI topic, as well as the societal benefit that AI-centric projects actually lead us to in terms of their positive impact out there. We also have Idea London, which is the very first post-accelerator in the UK. We are in partnership with some of the leading firms like Amazon Web Services or Barclays or Cisco, depending on the type of accelerator. We engage with leading firms. this is our also focus on the AI and machine learning type of projects. There is a computer science venture program. Tim is actually leading this program. Tim, would you like to give a quick overview of this one, please?
Yes, certainly. This is a new program that allows PhD students and postdocs to, during the course of their PhD or postdoc, form a company, and the funder gets a equity stake in the company, and it's a whole new way of funding PhDs and postdocs, where we actually, the purpose of the PhD is entrepreneurially focused research, and this works particularly well in the AI area, building on the success of some of the unicorn companies and other companies that are already coming out in this area. And it's really a way in which UCL can help rebalance things by retaining talent that at UCL have the academic freedom to go ahead and create a spin-out company. Whereas, of course, they could get paid a better salary at Google DeepMind, but they wouldn't have the same amount of freedom to innovate. So we've already seen quite a lot of interest from VC funds in this program, including a big one in London called Albion Ventures. And basically, we provide a lot of support for these entrepreneurs from their first idea to launching the business. And this is really focused around driving the entrepreneurial culture on campus. Ersel.
Thanks, Tim. So this is about what universities, what academia actually can contribute to the society. Academia is very uniquely positioned in what we call the quadruple helix model, where we have community elements, we have industry, and also we have the needs of these components to achieve a positive future. Academia is really uniquely positioned to achieve all these, as we are interconnected to all the elements. We can help the communities as well as the industry out there in terms of talent acquisition, brand recognition, new technologies, emerging technologies, and influence. But it's all about creating that positive future. Tim, would you like to give a quick
so
overview on this one?
So Ersel and I have written this book called University Industry Partnerships for Positive Change. And there's a great quote here from our wonderful Queen Elizabeth II, the late Queen Elizabeth, really about how it is through partnerships that great things happen in the world, positive change happens. And it's not always easy, but through partnerships. Why am I talking about partnerships? Because more than ever before, a technology that has the potential to change the world, either positively or negatively, it's down to us really as to how we're going to shape the new industrial revolution around AI. And the only way it's going to be shaped positively is through partnerships between companies, universities, government, and civil society. So that's what we're trying to do at UCL, because we believe that AI can actually bring about a better world by tackling climate change, by improving healthcare. It has huge potential for tackling all of the different grand challenges that are epitomized in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And we talk about this in our book, the different ways in which new technologies can actually contribute. AI has huge potential for good, but also not so good. So we need to get it right. And that's why at UCL on the 1st and 2nd of November, we're holding a conference about AI safety as part of the wider government's AI Safety Summit at Bletchley Park. Very briefly, this is the quintuple helix and quadruple helix that Ersel was referring to, is this interplay between the different sections of society and how we need to work together in order to leverage the best of these different elements for the good of the world when it comes to AI particularly. And that's why our team at UCL are focused on moving partnerships from just purely transactional partnerships that was common for universities in the early part of this millennium, through to transformational partnerships. And that's partly a result of the growth of technologies that have a huge potential for disruption, such as AI. We need to get it right. And that will require significant buy-in from all sections of society, from the universities and business at very senior levels. So we're creating partnerships that involve peer-to-peer engagement. So from the president of the university with the CEO of some of the largest companies down to lower levels, there will be significant interactions focused on developing these partnerships involving technologies such as AI. And we take with the companies, we work together to consider how we can use AI for good. So we don't work with anybody at UCL. We only work with those companies that have the same vision and values that we share, that we want to look at how we can improve AI. You know, there's a lot of issues around bias, for example, in AI that needs to be resolved. And we think that the university has an important role to play in that, in raising the ethical issues that are holding back AI and seeking to improve the regulation of AI within society. So we're speaking to government, we're speaking to industry to be able to make AI work for good for everybody. And that's particularly important for a university which is publicly funded like UCL and exists for the good of society. So that's the end of the presentation, but very, very briefly, I wanted to show you the Global AI Index. So we'll share the link with you, but this is the first index that benchmarks different nations on their investment, innovation, and implementation of AI. And there is an arms race going on, if you like, between tech companies to develop their own generative AI models, as Alan was alluding to, particularly the battle between OpenAI and Google and Microsoft. But actually, across the world, the UK is doing very, very well, comparatively speaking. So the US is number one currently, but China number two. But UK is number three in the world, 3 or 4, but behind Singapore. So Singapore scores well. The UK has an edge in research and commercial investment. Germany scores well on implementation. So you can have a look at this. This is really interesting. It maps the performance of different countries in terms of AI. So we haven't got long to go through all of this, but these are the key metrics that this particular index uses. So talent, infrastructure, operating environment, research development, government strategy, and commercial environment. And if we scroll down here, there are these spider diagrams here, and it's quite interesting to see the UK profile. Oh, it's just showing the US at the moment. But as you can see, obviously US, like UK, has very, very good universities. So talent is very high. R&D is also very, very high. So the UK has a similar profile to the US. But there are elements that could be improved, particularly around the operating environment for AI, and the need to bring society alongside when it comes to the development of AI, because a lot of people are scared about AI replacing people's jobs. Like all industrial revolutions, there will be job losses, but there will also be new jobs created. So we need to focus more on the positive side, the new jobs that are being created, and not just on the jobs that will be lost as a result of AI. So we're starting to see a huge amount of creativity in new companies that are leveraging particularly generative AI. If you'd like to see a slightly more focused, sorry, just one moment. Here we go. This is the ranking here. It's a ranking based for the finance sector, the banking sector, about AI maturity. And it compares different companies in the banking sector for their talent, innovation, leadership in AI, and transparency of responsible AI. So as a university like UCL can impact each one of these different pillars, working in partnership with companies, obviously through our huge amount of talent, PhDs that are working in AI, through our innovation ecosystem that Ersel's spoken about, helping companies communicate effectively to the public about the benefits of AI and the concerns of addressing concerns around the ethics of AI, and particularly the transparency. And this, I think, is what public are quite concerned about, and government, hence this AI Safety Summit that Rishi Sunak and Joe Biden have organised next month. So I hope that's helpful for everyone, and happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Very interesting, Tim. Ersel, thank you very, very much for your contribution today. I've got one very quick question, and then we're going to save the general questions to the end for everybody. When you are a student at UCL and you come up with a very clever idea that turns into an invention, that turns into an IP, that turns into a product, that turns into the core of a company, who owns that when it's developed within UCL?
Yeah, very good question. It's important to state that students do own their own intellectual property at UCL, unless, of course, they have received funding from a company. Say they're doing a PhD and they're getting the funding from a company. Depending on the amount that company is contributing, the IP is likely to be assigned over to the company, or it could be shared. It could be shared IP between the university and the company. But we also need to think, if you're thinking about a PhD, the academic supervisor is likely to be putting in his or her IP into that project. So there is background IP as well as foreground IP. So you need to think about the relative contribution.
Exactly.
It's very much like a case-by-case basis. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So our next speaker is Peter McKenna from the local company WSI, who is going to talk about what AI means for everybody.
Thanks very much, Alan.
Peter.
And thanks very much to Ersel and Tim for a fascinating insight into the way that universities are driving this forward. I'm going to come at this from a rather different pitch. My name is Peter McKenna. Our company is WSI Digital Advisors. We're a family-owned and run digital marketing and consultancy business based in West London, in Chiswick to be precise. Now, I've been in the digital game a long time, and the first large commercial site I launched was superdrug.com in 2000. So I've seen a lot in the last 23 years, but some of the stuff happening now is mind-boggling and allows businesses to approach problems in really innovative ways. But all I say to all my clients is beware of shiny new things syndrome. And for most businesses, AI is a mystery, particularly how they might apply it. So to discuss some of the practicalities for small businesses, here we go. I'll just share my screen. Okay. Now, to set the scene, today I was going to talk about chatbots. I was going to talk about business process improvements, but I decided not to. I decided to do something that is, sort of completely alien to me, to doing a live demo. Apologies in advance for any glitches. And here's the scenario. Let's say I run a small Italian restaurant in West London. That's a nice AI-generated image. This is not a AI-generated song. This is a fantastic song from a concert I went to last summer. I've invented a new form of pasta, spaghetti. Viewers of a certain age will recognize this image. I'll talk to Alan later. And last but not least, I'm importing a new range of Italian wine, Vino Colapso. Now, I feel really bad, sort of, I guess, being disrespectful to Italian wine, because I love Italian wine. Just spent half the summer there. Anyway, I'm short of ideas and I'm short of cash. So what am I going to do? I can't call Ghostbusters. So I go to ChatGPT. Why might I do this? And, so you ask yourself, what is ChatGPT anyway? So ChatGPT is a large language model. It basically has accumulated been given lots of inputs and taught, and algorithmically will engage with you, listen to what you say, listen to what you require, and can feed back ideas and answers to you. The way it does this is through prompts. You poke it and talk to it. So I'm going to ask it, I'm going to give us this problem that I have about my restaurant. So if I drop in the prompt, I just say, I am operating a small restaurant. It's in London. I would like you, that's ChatGPT, to act as a promotions and sales agency for me and provide me with some ideas for a promotion to introduce my new pasta and my new wine range. I want it to focus on our mission statement, captivate customers in our communities through fantastic food and wine. And I want to make sure that that whatever we do, I want ChatGPT to provide specific details to me on how to execute on the event. And I don't want it to offer free or discounted items. So I just press go. It'll have a think, and then it'll start coming up with a variety of ideas for me. Now, the joy of this actual live demo is that every time I've rehearsed it, it comes up with different answers. So I can prepare very little in advance. So the first example it's coming up with is a wine and pasta pairing event. The second is a cooking masterclass. Off it goes. It just gives, sort of a bit of an outline as to what each one is so I can make a judgment call. Spaghetti story nights. Okay, specific nights for sharing tales of Italy. What's the fourth one? Fourth one is the art of plating. Okay, so making pasta look attractive. Well, anyway, I've decided I've seen enough. I actually like option one. So I'm going to just tell it, I like option one. This is great. And then starts to give me a detailed breakdown as to how this wine and pasta evening might work. So what the invitations might look like, what the menu should look like, what so on and so forth. Everything that, so in terms of the ideas that I might want to use. I, at this point, say, fantastic, this looks really good. But what am I going to do? How am I going to promote this? So one of the ideas I like using is I love using posters locally. I don't really, I like using digital marketing, but as an example, posters are a good example here to show you something. So I'm going to tell it to stop at this point. I'm going to say, design for me a promotional poster, size A0. Now, one of the problems with this is that ChatGPT doesn't do image. There's lots of other tools for that. And there's lots of interesting tools, that, including Synthesia, that Ersel mentioned earlier, is one of the UCL unicorns that do lots of interesting stuff. Synthesia is a great example. It has avatars talking for you that I used in another demonstration. Anyway, what it's doing now is it's telling me, giving me a spec for this poster. It's telling me the type of image that I might use. It's telling me the words that I want to put upon it. And all I do is I just share that with my local print shop. At this point, I'd recommend a fine local print shop, Dave Reynolds at Polyprint in Northfields Avenue. But given that this is just a scenario, I won't be needing Dave today. Now, I've got a Facebook page. So what the hell am I going to say on there? So, excuse the language. I'm going to say create a Facebook and Instagram post. So off we go. It'll give me the Facebook post. It'll tell me, so give me the words. It'll give me the date, tell me what to put in it, and it'll give me hashtags and so on and so forth. And it gives a nice bit of commercial jeopardy in there. Limited seats, reply today. Off into the Insta post. And it'll tell me the type of images as well that it suggests that I put into the Insta post. All very good. Okay, so that's Facebook and Insta. Now I've got a bunch of emails as well. I have 500 emails, in fact. I have 500 customer email addresses. Create email template, inviting them to the event. It goes. Now at this point, it'll give me a subject line. It'll give me the details that I might want to put in. And it will probably give me some advice on best practice. All very good. Now, I'm just to mix this. I've just decided to be a bit ridiculous. I've decided that I'm going to make the evening fancy dress. So I need a set of spot prizes. Now, I'd like to make the prizes have punny names and be related to the event. I think there's the winner straight away. Pasta la vista, baby. Great expectations. So you can see it can be ridiculous and cheese-tastic all at the same time. Now, also, I want to do an incentive. I want to bring my staff into this. So it'll give use the elements of an incentive program. So pasta masters of the month, etc., etc. I could have told it, in fact, I probably should have told it to be more specific and to relate the incentive program to the event. Anyway, that's enough of that. So back to here. Okay, just to wrap up, I was mindful of time. In 10 minutes, we've come up with a concept for an event, a specification for a poster to promote it that my print shop can produce for you, a Facebook post to tell your customers about it, an Instagram post to promote it, an email campaign, and a staff incentive program. We're only scratching at the tip of the iceberg. We could really drill down hard into each of these points to enhance it further, to enhance the idea further, and to help you promote your event, your hypothetical event. Now, this is just one application where AI helps you get up to speed with ideas. If you don't like something, just tell it, it'll try again. You need to add your own voice. You need to add your own tone. You make any ideas that it comes up with, any ideas you like specific to you. Also, there's a big caveat here. Fact check anywhere that you make a claim. Don't trust the app. So if you're going to say something, make sure that it's true, as it's down to you in the end. Now, we've got a bit of a ChatGPT guide free giveaway coming up. The QR code is on the next screen, so get your phones ready. If you want to chat to us about the what ifs, buts, and maybes in this space, that's great. We've got lots of resources to help you from our network. The WSI is we're a locally based business, but we're part of a wider network. One of the new roles created within our network is the Chief AI Officer, who is full of useful ideas and has a brain the size of a planet and a very worthy haircut for this type of thing. Now, WSI, we aim to help you make more money online generally. That's what we do. But always remember that people buy from people. So our slogan is embrace digital and stay human. if you want, so use the QR code to access that free guide and download it. It's about 84 pages of prompts dealing with everything that you can imagine. And that's only the second edition. There's the third edition coming out in 2 months' time. Anyway, that's me. I'm going to stop the share and pass it back to Alan.
Fantastic, Peter. Thank you very much. And staying on a pasta note with Vino Collapso, you wouldn't believe that our next speaker, Alan, is from Italy, would you?
I actually modified one of my slides to say that.
And is it true, Alan, that Vino Collapso was served to the American Ryder Cup team this year in Rome?
I don't know, but it sounds about right.
I'll leave you to discuss that. Alan Musker runs an AI company in west of London. He's a member of our chamber, and it gives me a great honour to pass the baton over to Alan to do the final presentation today. Over to you, Alan.
Thank you so much. And yeah, interestingly, the office is in East London, but I live in Reading, so the midpoint is West London, and so that fits out nicely. Yeah, so what I'm here to talk to you about today is AI and forecasting, specifically for an application that we developed in construction. And I mean it in the widest possible sense of construction. So think of engineering, think of infrastructure, even shipbuilding. If you're building large enough ships, would fit under this description. So, but before I go into the details, I thought, who the hell is this guy anyway? So I added that first line for the benefit of Peter. I was born and grew up in Italy with half of my family in Britain. And whilst I am not allowed to endorse any new type of pasta that's been invented in the last 50 years, I think Peter's demo was fantastic and very relevant to our audience today. So that is really great. And by the way, one thing that might happen with OpenAI soon is that they've announced that soon ChatGPT will be able to create images. And so you might actually get the poster at some point. But they're rolling it out slowly, and I haven't got access yet, sadly. So yeah, about me. So right now I am co-founder and CTO of Nplan, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today. I've done my doctoral research in machine learning theory. I am an advisor in a couple of places. Most notable is the Institution of Civil Engineers, and in the Innovate UK program called Bridge AI, which is a program for funding innovative research, innovative businesses that are doing research on new applications within a few industries that are usually not touched by AI. My past is roughly divides into two. I spent about 8 years as what you define as a quant on Wall Street. And before that, I used to design supercomputer scheduling systems. So if you think about, back in the day, the supercomputers that used to fill a room, now they fill a building. I used to design that kind of stuff. And what I put it as always, but my passion has always been computer science and machine learning research. And so I don't think I'll ever stop doing that. And I'm here to tell you a little bit more about Nplan. So Nplan was co-founded by me and another person in 2017 in an incubator program, not very dissimilar actually from the UCL one that was described, but it's not part of university. It's entirely VC run, called Entrepreneur First. And our premise is to use AI for forecasting and decision-making under uncertainty. And decision-making under uncertainty is one of those situations that humans are typically not very well equipped to reason about, because you're thinking about a lot of low probability events, and using AI and using even basic statistics very much helps. And there's a lot of strategies that have been developed over the years to make better decisions in these situations. And our main applications for this are mega project timelines and portfolio risk. And I'll dive into those applications in a second. We're based in the UK. main offices in London. We have a number of projects that we've been a part of. Some of them you might recognize, some of them you might have been directly affected by. And I'm not allowed to comment on those, but if we're talking about forecasting delays and preventing them, a lot of this list probably resonates with a few of you. We now have 3 offices in London, Houston, and Sydney. Our latest investment was a while ago, and I don't think we're going to plan to take external investment again. And that was in 2020 from Google Ventures. So what is the problem? This is deliberately a very ugly slide. This is the Gantt chart for constructing a 2-story building with a shop and 2 flats above it. And it's already incredibly ugly and incredibly hard to understand. And it's very difficult for anyone to point at something and say, this is where your risk is. This is where you have most of your uncertainty, and this is what you should focus on. Now imagine, this is about, I think, 100 or so activities in this schedule. Imagine that you have 100,000 up to even 1 million of these, right? So we're talking about, if I print it out at this size, so imagine that this is an A4 piece of paper. If I print it out in the same scale, you would have schedules that are the size of the whole of the UK in terms of printout. And then the question is really hard to answer. What is the driver of my uncertainty? What do I need to focus on? Because you have so much complexity that interacts, and all these things interact with each other, right? And so what we've done is we tried to look at what is the current system of learning, and we build these plans, we execute them. They likely don't go as planned, and I think there's a McKinsey study that says that 80% of projects are over 50% delayed and 50% over budget or something like that. And then there isn't really a learning mechanism that transfers back so that we do the next project better. And this is where some of you may have cottoned on. This is the perfect setup to do some machine learning. And that's exactly what we did, right? We took, what did you plan to do in the beginning? How did it turn out? And built a system that can learn how to forecast the outcomes of these schedules. We do it because we're talking about the future. We do it from an uncertainty perspective. We don't say your concrete pour is planned for 1 month and 2 weeks, and it should be 1 month, 2 weeks, and 2 days. We add ranges to everything because we're talking about the future. But effectively, we collected a lot of historical data. We're now at, I think, 750,000 project schedules. So, and there's all sorts in there, right? It goes from commercial buildings to roads to railways to even energy projects. There's all sorts of stuff. And data centers, for example. And this core engine then powers all of our products. And so what it does is then we can use this to model a new way of delivering the projects, right? So you can change the way you do these, you set up the contracts. Right now, most contracts are what you would call design and build. So I show up and I say, I want a building and I want to pay, or like contractors will bid on it. They'll have some designs and they'll say, this will cost you $50 million. And then that's what you set up in contract. And it's a fixed price. And there is no real collaboration between the owner and the contractor because every change requires a contract variation, right? And so everything becomes a negotiation. Being able to set up things differently so that risk is shared and quantified at every turn, because the other thing that happens during these projects is that you have a schedule update every month, typically, so that you always have a new view of your risk and your uncertainty and where are you heading, will help change the way these contracts are set up. And then avoiding bias is the very basic thing. Like if I asked any person or a group of people, what is the risk on that schedule that I showed you at the beginning, we will get very diverging answers. And those diverging answers will be a result of the fact that human experience is limited, right? So we'll have people that have worked, I don't know, on Crossrail and have experienced the fact that Crossrail was delayed because of signals and systems integration. Others might have had a different experience even on the same project, so their answer to why was Crossrail late would be different. And so combining all of these is part of also why we do machine learning. Like, nobody can read in their own lifetime, natural lifetime, 750,000 schedules of that size. So that's where part of the benefit comes from. In terms of what product looks like, I've popped in a couple of screenshots. This is our single project. There's 4 screenshots in here. It's our single project product. So this helps, you know, the individual mega project track how their risk is going, and what are insights that get derived automatically, but also helps compare different scenarios. So if I have a hypothesis that I could do things slightly different, or I could change the design slightly, then you can input those and look at what does that difference make. What difference does that make on the timeline? And that's our first product. It's the one that is very, very much with most use cases today. And we have a second product which talks about portfolios. So both on the contractor and owner side, you may have organizations that do hundreds or even thousands of projects simultaneously, and being able to track how the aggregation of all this risk is going is something that really makes a difference to PMOs, for example, or if you think about a CFO that's trying to forecast their expenditure or their revenue, knowing about the risk that they carry on their portfolio of projects and being able to address it. For example, in a way, in the bottom right, we have one of the features that actually I'm most proud of in our portfolio product, because it's able to look at all the projects, look at all the risk drivers in all the projects, and then find common risk drivers that span across multiple projects and highlight those and say, you have common common problems in initial design and commissioning, for example, in this. And this is all demo data, so you know, I'm not showing you anyone's actual data. And this is especially helpful for those organizations that have to intervene at a systems level. And then the latest development is, obviously, we have our own a Gen AI based chatbot, which is able to answer specific questions. And this is where it becomes really interesting. I took this from a client session. I stole those questions and reran them on the demo projects. But you can start with like a very open-ended question that says, I assume we don't make any changes, what is going to happen to my project, right? And then we called our agent Barry, because it seems to be a very common name in with our clients. And also it seems to be very friendly and non-threatening. But the idea is you go from very wide and then go to very specific. And it's able to reason about things that aren't part of the main simulation, right? So we go from schedule risk, and then it talks about some potential delays, and then we can get it to reason about what difference does this make to the project cost. And this is all emergent features from the generative AI, which I think is really, really interesting. And the one thing that, you know, we have to be very careful about for technical applications, which is less true, actually, it's probably the opposite of what you want from Peter's demo. So from Peter's demo, and I'm talking about hallucinations, from Peter's demo, you do want the LLM to be creative. You do want the AI to give you ideas that are a little bit out there, and it's creating something new, right? But if you're doing analysis, then you want it to be factual, you want it to be grounded, and this is where a lot of our investment has been, to effectively never quote things that don't exist, which is actually very difficult. So there's a lot of cases online where somebody has asked even ChatGPT for a reference for something, and then they go look for it and it doesn't exist. And so that's a problem that we have that you wouldn't have in that previous use case. And we've invested a lot in doing this, but it seems to be working quite well now. We've released this, and it lives inside our product, so you can't talk to it about anything. You can only talk to it about your project, which that grounds it very, very well. And finally, in terms of future developments, what's next? And the idea is, can we create scenarios automatically? Can we generate schedules? And can we generate reporting? Because there's a lot of reporting that happens in these projects that start manually. And lastly, I'd like to do a little plug. We're actually talking about quantum machine learning today. We have a machine learning paper club where anyone who's a little bit more technical can join. It's free for everybody. It's online every week. We talk about a new research paper. This is run by our research group, and it's free to attend for everyone. I think today it's actually in person in the office, so it'll be with pizza, but it's also live streamed everywhere. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very, very much, Alan. We're staying definitely with an Italian theme today, aren't we? Pizza for breakfast, spaghetti for lunch with Calypso wine. Right. Okay. We've had quite a few questions come through on the chat box, which I can see Peter has been conveniently answering as we've been going along. Thank you. Has anybody else got any questions they'd like to pose in the Q&A? Please do. We very much welcome them. I'm going to ask a question perhaps to Ersel to start off with. When we read newspapers today, how many of those newspaper articles are written in AI, and how many are actually written by a real person with a full write on it?
Well, it's a very interesting question. As we all know, the role of AI is increasingly dominant in our lives. That affects the newspapers, all the information we receive on a daily basis. I don't know the figures, but I think we're all aware that this is happening as we speak. That there are bots, AI bots, writing up all those headlines, some of which are of help to the journalism, of course, but some others may be used for some other purposes. AI is a scary word, and perhaps it needs to be controlled somehow as well. It's a very open conversation, of course, as to how we can do that. Probably under the United Nations umbrella, there should be a Security Council, or I'm not quite sure how this could really be put into legislation, where an international basis could be created. But if it goes all the way up to the newspaper headlines, which has a direct impact on the people, on the community, society, then we should really think of this very, very carefully in terms of how we can control it. Tim, do you have anything to add on top of that?
I agree with you, Ersel. I think that reputable media outlets would not use generative AI, without checking the facts, for sure, because there's a lot of inherent bias in those articles, and it could give them a very bad reputation if they don't check the facts. I can give you a very quick example. When it comes to Midjourney, for example, which is often used for drawing AI-based images, I heard about a well-known cosmetics company that had a female founder who asked the Midjourney to draw a picture of the boardroom of the board meeting of that company. And the very interesting thing is that every single person on the board was a man, even though the company had very strong values for women in business. So without understanding the context, generative AI is very poor at understanding context. And so that's a big problem when it comes to media articles. So I don't think really reputable media outlets like the BBC would be using generative AI without certainly checking the facts significantly.
I wonder if that's the key thing, using AI to generate the report, but actually to check through it. And I see Alan has put in a comment in the chat box about a little test to do is to search for as an AI language model in Google. It will show a lot of articles that haven't even been proofread and contain that phrase. Thank you very much, Alan. I noticed when I was on a webinar yesterday that was on Teams, it had a little box at the bottom saying AI assistance for any comments or words or articles that you want to bring up on there. So it seems to be growing all around us. It seems to be something that wasn't so much spoken about even 2 years ago. Quantum compute. When was the big quantum computer built? In DeepMind. How long ago? Do you know, Alan? Do you know Ersel, Tim?
I want to say last year. The 70 qubit one, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I think it was either ended last year or beginning of this year. It was finished.
So it really is a very today's news. And the world is changing literally around us. This is another economic and multicultural generation change, I think, for everybody. Any closing comments, Peter? You've been very quiet in the background since you talked about your wine.
You know me, Alan, I'll sit and listen and then say something. I don't have any particular comments. I just say that, you know, from my perspective, I look at this not from a overarching AI as an existential challenge, which it may or may not be. I'm just not looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at the practical application of the tools that we have in both in our everyday working existence for what we do for clients, but also, you know, sort of helping our clients understand the landscape, understand where they can plug in the things that they have to be mindful of, or the things that, you know, sort of are probably sitting beyond them. I tend to work in that sort of real world space. I guess Ersel and Tim are, you know, sort of pushing the boundaries, are effectively growing the way they are growing the organizations that are going to drive us forward. Alan's dealing in a large scale application of AI. I tend to sort of take other people's work. I stand on the shoulders of giants, as to use the famous phrase. And I'd encourage, you know, sort of ordinary people to do so. You know, there's lots of interesting stuff happening. Don't be afraid.
Okay. So we're just past the hour. Can I thank everybody very, very much, all of our panelists today and the audience for coming along. I need to advertise a couple of events that our chamber's got coming up shortly. We've got a trade mission visiting from Vietnam on Monday. Please come along to our offices, send me emails if you'd like to participate in it. They're visiting from 2 till 4. And then on Wednesday next week, we've got an event on climate change and trade with New Zealand with a key speaker of Jonathan Porritt, former chairman of the Green Party, Friends of the Earth, plus Middlesex University. Sorry, Ersel. Sorry, Tim. We've got some speakers about greening up freight around Heathrow and trade with New Zealand from New Zealand High Commission. If you can make it, you're all very, very welcome. We're serving New Zealand wine afterwards just to put us in the right mood. Not vino collapso, I'm afraid. And well, I wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you all very much for being with us. And again, special thanks to our panelists for their excellent presentations. If you have any other questions for them, please fire them through to me at the chamber or Sally, and we can pass them on. Thank you all very much. Really good to see you all today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.